Thank you for having us. My name is Isaac Ontiveros, and I'm here from the United States, specifically from the San Francisco Bay Area of California. I just wanted to start out by way of introduction saying, since I was a very young person, I've been incredibly inspired and challenged by the histories of resistance and struggle here in the north of Ireland. So it's humbling and an honor to be surrounded by this history. And when I refer to history throughout this, I'm in the most present tense sense of the word. Rachel and I have been sent here by an organization that is a prison industrial complex abolitionist organization called Critical Resistance, and we were our organization was able to kind of scrap together some resources to send us here, not as academics to present a paper so much as community organizers here to represent our grassroots organization and to share and learn and bring back these lessons, all in the service of trying to build our movement to abolish the prison industrial complex. So thank you for having us, and Rachel's going to introduce the organization.
Yeah, my name is Rachel Herzing. I also work with Critical Resistance. And we are going to do, as our organization does, as our practice is, which is collaborative, which is tag teaming, so we'll go a little bit back and forth like that, but it also demonstrates kind of how we do our work and how we practice our principles. So the organization is about 10 years old at this point. It's a grassroots organization. It's national in terms of its scope and how we do our work. There are chapters across the United States. And each of the chapters does slightly different work. But the overall mission of the organization is to build a movement to abolish the prison industrial complex. And so we do that in a number of different ways. But the way that we're going to talk about today is pushing kind of a piece of the prison industrial complex that doesn't get talked about as often in the United States in our work. And we're trying to figure out a way to push that debate a little bit more, which is around policing specifically. Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of look down a little bit and read notes. I tend to wander, so I'm going to try to stay anchored by this computer. So the first thing we wanted to talk about is something that, as an organization, we've been organizing around for the past year and a half now, which is the murder of a young man in Oakland, California by transit police. This man was named Oscar Grant, and maybe some of you have heard of this incident. The reason why we want to talk about this just for a few minutes is one of the kind of challenges within our organization when we think of the abolition of the prison industrial complex, when we think about the abolition of one of its core elements being policing, is this kind of idea that we developed in the past couple of years around dismantling, changing, building. And kind of the way that those things are interrelated with each other when we do our work. The reason why we think to start talking about the organizing work around the murder of Oscar Grant is in this framework of dismantle, change, build is, to build, to use this moment to advocate for the abolition of policing, this murder of Oscar Grant, to as far as change goes, to the breaking our addiction to cops and feeling like we need them, and breaking open responses and levels of organizations applied to how we deal with policing and police violence, and to try to build a capacity to respond to harm, and to develop ways of responding that are not only based on crisis. So just to give a little bit of a background to the Oscar Grant murder, on the early morning of January 1st in 2009, just hours into the new year, police removed Oscar Grant and several of his friends from a Bay Area rapid transit train, so it's the commuter train in the Bay Area. They removed them from the train. They pinned Oscar Grant to the ground with his hands behind his back. One officer had his knee on the back of his neck. Another officer pulled his gun out and shot him at point-blank range in the back, killing him. Now, as far as the point of view of police violence goes, the only thing exceptional, and that's not to de-emphasize the loss of his family and the loss of his community member, but the only thing exceptional from the point of view of police violence is that this certain instance was caught on film. So this happened in front, there was hundreds of people witnessed this murder, and dozens of them recorded it with their phones. The reason why this wasn't exceptional from the point of view of the violence of policing was Oscar Grant was 15th or 16th person killed by police in the previous 2 years, just in Oakland. All of these people killed by police in this time period, all of them were people of color. Most of them were younger black men. But that doesn't exclude the fact that some of them were, for example, the police just months before had killed a 80-year-old woman by shooting her in the back in front of her house. So the thing that was exceptional was that it was caught on tape. The other exceptional thing was in response to this murder, there was an uprising in Oakland. We have some pictures of what this looks like. I'm going to go through quickly. I just want to maybe show a bit of video here. Sorry. Well, this video doesn't seem to be working. Anyways, the community responded to the murder by taking to the streets. The police officer resigned from duty before he was able to be questioned or give statements and so on. The Oakland basically exploded. There was massive demonstrations. These demonstrations were met. The police responded to these demonstrations with armored vehicles, rubber bullets, physical, batons, chemical mace, the whole kind of arsenal available to them as police. So they responded also in a way that's not exceptional to the uprise of people, especially oppressed people in the United States. The interesting thing, the reason why we bring it up here is that part of this response was an incredible amount of organizing. A lot of it was spontaneous. Some of it was, based in years of organizing work against policing. But the organizing efforts around the police murder of Oscar Grant were able to open up this very vibrant discourse that made it a kind of common sense practice for however short a period of time to not just question police practices, but to question policing itself. So that it became, one of the things that happened during these uprisings is that the police swooped in and arrested everybody on the streets. People responded in different ways. One way was young people took to the streets. They tried to destroy a police car. There was some private property damage and so on, public property damage. The police arrested like 150 people. People were able to mobilize in defense of these people, and in the mobilization to defend these people that were arrested for demonstrating against this police murder, this whole kind of arena of discourse opened up in which people started questioning policing itself. They started questioning why are there police on the transit system? Why are these police armed? And started questioning the history of policing, especially in a place like Oakland, where the history of policing is generations long of murderous violence, especially against the black community.